Hey, how are you?
All right.
I need to hook these on
Talk to him over.
Yes, sir. I'm on chief.
so I don't need to.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Somebody else does.
Go ahead and everybody get a sound check. We can.
Everybody's screen's working? Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Ben's like, yeah, DHN working, WTVY and WSFA not working. We're good. Okay. Is everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
The events that transpired yesterday are a real-life version of Grand Theft Auto. It began about 4:30 in the afternoon on the 300 block of North Alice when the suspect in this case, Jeremy Jermaine Jones of 700 block of College Street, became involved in a physical altercation. During the altercation, he brandished a firearm and took the victim's wallet and stole his car, a white Hyundai Santa Fe. Shots were fired and the suspect fled. A short time later, the suspect arrived at a residence in Quincy where he committed another robbery and kidnapping at gunpoint of an individual at a residence located there. Houston County was working that case shortly after it happened. The suspect drove the kidnapped victim to Fairfield Circle, where he approached an elderly couple occupying a black Honda Accord and brandished a weapon and took their car, or excuse me, brandished a weapon and the couple left the scene. So the suspect then left that location in the stolen car that he had possessed earlier. 20 minutes later, about 5:20 in the afternoon, he approached a male locking a gate on the 900 block of the storage warehouses on Murray Road. He fired several shots in the air and demanded his vehicle. The suspect fled in the stolen Kia Sorento, leaving the Honda on the scene. About 5 minutes later, he approached an individual checking a mailbox on the 100 block of Twitchell Road and demanded at gunpoint that individual's wallet. He went through the wallet and threw the wallet back at the victim and again exited the scene in the second stolen vehicle. 5 minutes later, he approached an individual jogging on the 4000 block of the Circle near the area of Twitchell Road. He pointed the gun at the victim and demanded he get in the vehicle with him. The victim refused to do so, and Mr. Jones continued on the stolen vehicle. Around 5:45, a patrol officer spotted the stolen vehicle at the intersection of Ross Clark Circle and Quincy Road. The officer attempted to stop the vehicle and the suspect fled. At the intersection of Ross Clark Circle and Bertishaw Street, the suspect in the stolen vehicle crossed over into the oncoming lane of traffic, and a short time later was involved in a critical motor vehicle accident involving Paul Roberts and his wife. Paul was killed, and I can tell you that from a police chief standpoint, An officer being killed in the line of duty is a difficult thing to wrap my head around, but the loss of an innocent person is equally as difficult. So our hearts and our prayers go out to the family of Mr. Roberts. He is a Houston County man. His wife was injured in the accident as well. But that wasn't enough for Mr. Jones. He bailed out of the car, injured. He had injuries and fled anyway. Attempted to carjack 2 additional vehicles at the scene before the people in the vehicle had the doors locked, thank goodness. So he fled on scene and was apprehended a short time later near a local restaurant in a grassy area outside the parking lot. Mr. Jones is going to be, he has been charged with murder. He is going to be charged with 8 counts of robbery first degree. He is going to be charged with assault first degree for the injuries sustained by Patricia Roberts. He is going to be charged with leaving the scene of an accident with injuries and attempted kidnapping first degree. Again, just an awful thing to happen in our community. We mourn the loss today of a resident who was driving down the road yesterday, and all of a sudden his life was taken from him by the malicious actions of a crazy person. That's all I have to say. We'll provide this are there any questions I can answer?
Do you have any hint what could have set off all this?
No, I don't. Of course, when I stand up here, sometimes I say I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have diagnosed this individual. What he did was just out and out mean, vicious, selfish, ruthless, and those are just some of the words I can think of off the top of my head. He was brought down to the PD and interviewed, and we're not going to get into all of that, but we're convinced that he knew what he was doing at the time he was doing this, and we've been in contact with the district attorney's office, and we're going to seek prosecution to the fullest extent of the law.
Did he happen to know the victim he tried to kidnap? Do they have any connections, any relations?
We're unsure of that. There were 2. The one that he attempted, the individuals in Kinsey, we don't really know the relationship. The sheriff's office is working on that. That's something I'm sure as we continue the investigation, we're going to be able to determine. Obviously, the individual jogging on the side of the road, he did not know. This gentleman was just a one-man crime spree. Okay.
Does he have any previous history with life?
He's a known felon.
Chief, I understand he's on parole. Is that true?
I don't know that.
The high-speed chase is not classified as a felony, correct?
The offense of pursuing?
Yes, sir. If you run from police high speed, that's not a felony?
Well, not unless significant injuries occur. It's usually a reckless endangerment or something like that. You know, I don't want to get too far off in policy, but our policies are very restrictive. As far as high-speed pursuits go, we're very careful and restrict our engagements of high-speed pursuits to dangerous felons. That criteria was met here. I think it's a horrible situation. It's very unfortunate, but at the same time, I think our officers, based on all the information that I have, responded professionally and accordingly.
The reason I asked that, he was involved in a high-speed chase on February 19th from Henry County into Dothan, where your department was not involved because it didn't meet the criteria. But I was just curious if that would have been a violation of if he was on parole last week in the chase that he was involved in. But did you have any knowledge of that chase yesterday?
I remembered hearing about that chase you're speaking about, but I didn't know it was the same individual. You know, that would be a pardon and parole question. It certainly could be a reason for a revocation, I suppose, but that would be up to the agency involved in the action to take that step and reach out and try to get that done.
The incident in Kinsey, did he try to kidnap one or multiple people?
One. He kidnapped one person in Kinsey.
So he did kidnap that?
He kidnapped the person in Kinsey, and he dropped him off at the Fairfield Circle.
Okay.
Chief, twice, and maybe more, but twice, and I think one or both times your department arrested him prior, one of those times anyway. But my question is, twice he's obtained early release from the Alabama prison system. As a police chief sworn to enforce the law, is it frustrating to you that people are sent to prison, they're let out early, then they come back and you have to contend with them again, especially in a situation like this where the results of his actions were so heinous toward others?
Well, you know, my personal opinion is that as police officers, we have a job to do. The judicial system has their job to do. We focus on doing ours and leave the leave the early releases and things like that up to the court.
Sometimes in a situation like this, Chief, there are multiple crimes that occur in a short amount of time. Usually it's running a stop sign, red light, before a guy's caught. Have you ever had an experience as an officer or a chief where this many serious felonies were charged in a short amount of time?
I can't recall anything like this. And from the chief's perspective, this is probably the most difficult press conference I've had to do since my appointment in 2015, because there's nothing more sacred to us in law enforcement than protecting the public. And when an innocent person is killed because of the actions of another, it just weighs heavy on us.
When you actually apprehended the suspect, how did he react to law enforcement catching him?
He had some injuries as a result of the accident, but he was driven to get away. That accident, we're going through the processes of reconstruction. We're subpoenaing data and things like that to try to determine speed. I haven't reviewed the video myself, but one of the patrol commanders has, and you know, but we'll need to determine the speed, the actual speed, and things like that for the reconstruction.
Was he taken to the hospital?
Yes, he was.
Is he still there?
No.
The wife of the man who was killed, is she in the hospital? Has she been released?
She was treated and released.
Chief, I want you to comment on the dispatch side of this, because from start to finish, it would seem like they had to put together a puzzle behind the scenes to keep the folks on the street informed of what was going on. That has to be a difficult task to handle with that flood of calls. Do you know how many 911 calls you received from just this one man yesterday?
No, I don't have any idea how many we had, but in listening to the radio traffic and everything that was going on, the patrol squads were actively looking for him, and everybody knew, you know, that he had to be taken off the streets. It's just unfortunate that it ended in the way it did.
But as far as the work that the dispatchers did behind the scenes yesterday, that...
Yes, it's remarkable every day, the things that they do. Putting the puzzles together, communicating with our brothers and sisters at Houston County who switching information back and forth, and our relationship in that regard with the sheriff's office is second to none. So all the communications personnel on both sides work very well together. I hope that answered it.
Something you mentioned that caught my ear. You said after that collision on the circle, he tried to run away and tried to carjack 2 other cars. You said luckily those doors were locked. And I think on newer vehicles they lock automatically, but not on all vehicles. Is that should that be a reminder message to everyone that you should keep your car doors locked at all times? Because had those doors been open, there could even have been more frightening results. Absolutely,
that's a good point. And I've never been an advocate of locking my car door. But in this case, I think we heard, I saw one of the newscasts last night, a lady who had her door locked, and if he had gotten that car, we could have had more problems.
Has any bond been made or has been set for Mr.
No bond. Yeah, we're going to do everything that we can to keep this individual behind bars. We'll release some additional information as we get it. I know that a lot of this stuff, there's just so much of it, and the timeline is in such a way that we'll probably just need to put it in your hands and let you look at it, hopefully within the next couple of hours.
Chief, you may have said this. Is Jones from Dothan? Is he a Dothan native?
Yes, yes. A college street address. Born in 1980, so 38, 39. So. Any more questions? Thank y'all for coming.